Hello one and all, my name is Ryan Bruce, my friends call me Fluff, and today on Riffs, Beards, and Gear, we check out the Herbert mkIII from Diezel. So when it comes to amp parties, I was pretty late on the Diezel train, and that is because I just never had access to them, hardly ever. Last year, maybe it was the year before, I got my first Diezel. Yes, I'm pronouncing that correctly, per my German heritage, that I got my VH2, which I loved. Then I graduated to the VH4, and I use that quite a bit when I'm reamping and mixing records, and I love layering that amplifier with other amplifiers. It just gives you a big old wall of sound. Well, today, we're gonna check out the 180 watt Herbert mkIII from Diezel. And before we go any further, this video is brought to you by the fine folks over at Sweetwater. Sweetwater has all of your amplifier needs covered, whether that is large or small, entry level or boutique level of amplifiers. I will link down below in the description. All thoughts and opinions are mine. So the Herbert mkIII, like I said, is a 180 watt behemoth of an amplifier featuring 3 channels, a mid-cut circuit, which we will talk more about in a second, 6 EL34 power tubes. This thing is meant to be a touring professional Swiss Army knife. Now, when I think of the Herbert, I think of seeing all those rig rundowns with Miles Kennedy, of him just going, and flexing on us all. That's what I think of when I think of the Herbert. And in my mind, it probably, I would describe it as how I thought the VH4 would sound. But actually it was the Herbert that I was really kind of dialing into or wanting, because the Herbert is, it is brutal and it is like the metal Diezel. However, it's much more than that. Like, it has great cleans, great crunch. There's just tons of headroom. It's so perfectly executed as an amplifier. I just wanted to gobble it up. Now, in addition to its 3 channels, you have full MIDI capability, you have serial and parallel effects loops, you have a global mute, you have the aforementioned Midcut Circuit. This thing is really just has a lot of bells and whistles, and it really can fit within basically anybody's rig configuration. Now, the Midcut Circuit is interesting because the mid-cut, which cuts the mids, to my ear, I don't know exactly where it's cutting, but it kind of feels like the 750 Hertz Mesa Boogie Mark series cut, which is very musical when you start to cut that. It's gonna get rid of some of the quackiness. However, you do lose some level when you start to cut the mids. And so the Midcut Circuit has 2 dials, the midcut and then a level compensation that you can switch in and out. I thought this was a really brilliant execution of something like the midcut, as opposed to having just a midcut and then trying to mess with your levels at your channel level. So this way, the midcut can just be nice and level volume-wise, and you can engage it in and out. Brilliant. Let's go ahead and hear this thing in the context of a mix. For the mix, I will be using my PRS Tremonti with a Duncan Black Winter in the bridge. I'm going to go ahead and boost this amplifier with a Boss SD1 on channel 3, just because I liked how it sounds, and I can do that because it's my amplifier. Let's hear this thing in the context of a full mix, shall we? Now let's get to the playthrough section. Let's just twist some knobs. You will notice that basically I start with everything at noon, and it sounds so good with everything at noon. My guitar I will be switching to is my PRS Custom 22, just because it's easier to stand and play and kind of twist some knobs, and it's something a little different than the Black Winter equipped Tremonti. So yeah, let's do a little bit of playthrough. Let's hang out. Let's twist some knobs with the Herbert mkIII. So what do I think? This amplifier is so brilliant and sounds so damn good. You play it and you kind of giggle to yourself because you feel like you're playing a really nice amplifier for the first time ever. And honestly, I am, right? Like a really nice, bougie, expensive amplifier. This thing is worth every penny. Now, it's not cheap. In the United States, currently at the time of this filming, this amplifier retails for $4,300, which is a crazy amount of money for, well, anything, let alone amplifiers. But you can buy a used car for this, for the price of this amplifier. However, if you are looking for something that is little different than what you currently have, your Marshalls, your Mesas, this is definitely a very German sounding amplifier. It's very harmonically rich, but it's tight and it's brutal, but it doesn't have to be if you don't want it to be. It's so responsive, depending on what guitar you plug into it. This is absolutely in my top 5 favorite amplifiers of all time, really. And I've had this thing for about a month now. And so I've kind of gotten accustomed to it and used to what it does and what it doesn't do, which isn't much. And this amplifier is phenomenal. I will link down below in the description if you'd like to know more information on the Diezel Herbert Mark III. And with that, you've been wonderful. I've been Fluff. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.